Starting. And we're back, another episode of The Company. We're going to review, what's the head nod for? We're going to review Black Panther, what we thought about it, the good, the bad, the ugly, what could have been better, what can get no better about the movie. I thought it was an amazing piece of cinematic genius, personally. So on the panel tonight, we got Rich down here, and we got Izzo again.
Hello.
MIA.
I think. Well, he's talking about going to see the movie again.
Yeah, he's going to take.
So you already saw it.
Oh yeah,
he's going to take his kids to see it again.
Yeah. He's going taking his kids. Yeah. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of let Rich lead this because he kind of knows where we're going tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so for starters, I mean, I think it'd be a good opportunity to just say what you thought was great about the movie. So I think the thing that made this movie stand out from the rest of the pack, both in terms of Marvel and in terms of just cinema in general, is the fact that you got to see this kind of story told from this lens. Like, it's a vantage point you never ever really see.
Yeah,
I mean, because what we always, especially when it comes to movies about our culture, is that it comes down to either it's a slave movie, something about the past, or something about Black victimhood. There was really nothing about that. It touched on those things as if they actually occurred, but it was not like that was the overall tone of what the movie is about. The movie is mainly about, you know, what it means to be a leader and how to actually get your points across, and whether or not, you know, I am truly my brother's keeper. Like that, it's like all those are the little pieces that go into there. I think we might want to say this right out the gate, that this is going to be spoiler filled. So go ahead and cut it off now if you have not seen this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I put that in the remarks there. If you have not,
right. I don't want you to get mad at me about it. The other thing that was interesting about this movie in particular is that it did have it's relevant, and I don't know if that's by design, because no one could have predicted how, you know, American leadership would have transpired, you know, 2-3 years ago. But the reality of it is that there is a very nationalist tone about this movie. It is about it is about, you know, hey, do we really need to worry about what everybody else has got going on in the world and worry about simply ourselves? Because we're good over here. You know, we don't need to let all these other people in because they may actually introduce their own problems into the mix.
And they say that at a certain point.
That was actually even said in the movie. So it's not like, you know, there's a concern here about that in all communities. And and you guys jump in wherever. But you know, the one other thing that I really was interesting is how the approach of, regardless of who it got into that whole tradition versus, you know, the right way to do things. Because we, you know, not to get political about it, but there are ways that things turned out from an election standpoint that, hey, it's the way that it has been done for the last several decades. This is the way that it's been done. And it may be time to look at it and readdress it, because there are certain things that happen in the movie that put someone else at the helm. And then that's the way that it is, because that's what's written in the law. He didn't cheat. You know, by the definition, he didn't cheat.
Yeah, you're right. Just like he asked him, he said, was it by combat?
Yeah.
When they went to M'Baku, right? I said, did he lose by combat? He was like, yeah. I said, well, dude's the king. What are you gonna do about that?
Right.
Yes. You know, it echoed in my mind exactly to like an election here when that happened.
Yeah, and I mean, it's nothing you really can say about it. So it's just you know. So I mean, that, like, for me, it was so good to really see this just get told from a standpoint of where there are, you know, it's beyond just being a Black movie. It is a movie that can resonate with all different types of people of different walks of life.
Absolutely.
At the same time, it is cultural significance to one specific group of people, because there are topics that they go into, such as the colonizer. You know, that was like the one point in the movie.
Depending on who you were sitting beside, depending on who you were sitting beside, that was the cringe-worthy part of the movie.
Right.
And I was sitting beside people who would cringe when they heard
Right.
that. So it was one of those moments.
Oh man.
Jeez.
I was
Oh.
my wife and I, when we saw that, what I appreciated was the fact that the movie did not go into like didn't start to preach you. It was more it would drop a line, drop a line, and then it didn't like drop a line and then turn to the camera and wait for you to actually take it in. It was said, and it was said so matter of fact to the point where that was, to me, I think that was an element of world building in and of itself.
Look at all these white people taking my shit.
Right. Like that. It wasn't that. It was a point that was made, and it was matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, see, I mean, like, what did y'all think? I mean, it's just kind of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It
was so perfectly written.
Yes,
like you said, it wasn't preachy. It wasn't corny with the message, and it knew how to lay into something and then back away from it, and move on. I made my point. You heard what I said. Let's move on to the next scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the perfect movie, and I feel like it took this long. Because to be honest, the movie was supposed to be made in like '96.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Wesley Snipes was trying to make this movie.
I did hear about that. I got you.
Yeah, it was one of the. It was, it's to that same point. It was one of those moments where it was like, if you read about how the whole deal with Iron Man and basically the Avengers, it's like Black Panther was part of that package, and Sony was probably shooting themselves in the foot because at the time they thought, well, who's going to want to see a Black Panther movie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and even to that same statement, it's not saying that you have to let's just call a spade. Black Panther is not making $200 and something million this weekend just because Black people are going to see it.
No,
it is a movie that has a story that just happens to have a very largely Black cast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that shouldn't be at the forefront of it, but it's the reality of it is that it ain't just us that are going to see it. Now there is like a significant backing of us to see this movie, and rightfully so, because let's just be honest, this is quality filmmaking. This is the type of movie that I think we've been looking for a long time.
Yep.
And it's not like we're shucking and jiving around, talking about this topic. It's actually real social issues, well written dialogue, well acted cast. That brought it up.
Yeah. What was refreshing is, like I said, I had some Caucasian guys sitting beside me.
All right.
Young guys. And it wasn't they came to see the movie because they were fans of the comic.
Ooh.
Right.
So you could hear them whispering about the movie. Yeah, that I remember in the comic this, I remember in the comic that, so they were there as lovers of the comic. They were there as lovers of the whole genre of the Marvel universe and this and that. So that was refreshing that people were there not just because, hey, I'm gonna go see a bunch of Black people in a movie.
Right.
People were actually participating in this because they like Marvel and they know Marvel gives good products, and they know how to write a movie and make a good movie and make a movie about something. So that was kind of refreshing to me, even though he kept fiddling with his pocket and I was ready to punch him if he stood up.
Oh, that
guy. It was still refreshing. I wasn't gonna die in the movie theater. I'm just letting you know that. I don't mean to be be sensitive, but no, he was gonna be first. But it was refreshing, and I really it really hit me when they sat there and started talking about how good the movie was and everything, and they were whispering amongst each other about comics and Marvel and all that. I wouldn't tell them to shut up at one point. But
I mean, that's part for the course, man. It's like seeing it. It's like even seeing like something from your childhood come to life. It's like, it's like your inner hype man is just there the whole time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely.
My main thing that I pulled. Go ahead, real quick.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, my main thing is really simple and quick. It's like what I saw is that I saw tons of people in dashikis, tons of people in African garb, but the main thing is for Marvel / Disney. they're going to get an audience that probably hadn't really watched a lot of Marvel movies.
Right.
That are going to jump in and literally are going to follow a lot of these. Not just Black Panther, not just, Captain America, the Avengers, but they're probably going to be interested in a lot further things that Marvel has to put out. That's what I saw. Because a lot of people were blown away. You could hear gasp and all that other type of stuff. The whole entire time.
Yeah.
That's just on a simplistic level. Yeah.
Yeah, they were applauding everything in my theater.
Exactly. Same here.
I didn't get any applause in mine.
Nah, they didn't applaud at the end.
At the end, yeah, at the end. That was the only time I saw applause. I heard some tears at some parts, but myself included. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, listen. This is the opening.
we can go. I want to hold that till the end. I want to hold that to the end.
Okay.
But all right. So let me. I want to ask y'all this question because this is something that my wife and we talked about in the movie. I honestly think, even though I know this movie is called Black Panther, I don't feel like the Black Panther was the character that stole the show.
So who you think stole the show?
I personally think that I think Chadwick Boseman did a great job in this movie, but I think that the supporting cast around him is really what elevated him to that next level. Because Eric Killmonger was by far he every time he showed up, and I loved how they did even things with the score, because every time he showed up, it was like they changed from the more traditional tribal African music to like a 90s hip hop, 2000s
because he's American. Because he's American, and that's because he's American,
right? But it's like they did that. It's like it was a subtle cue, but but every time he was on screen, it's like you would hear it. Okoye, like every time she was on screen, it's like her face, like you could see her emotions in her face in every scene that she was in. Like when she was talking to Lupita's character, like when Killmonger took over, it's like she told her, it's like, look, I don't agree with this, but I have to follow this person. And you could just see in her eyes, like
that whole exchange. That exchange between Lupita and Denai. Oh my God! If I'm afraid what's going to happen is because of that, because of the chemistry on screen. Not really afraid. I look forward to it. They're going to start being those two people stuck in like 3 or 4 more movies because the chemistry between them two was so strong. It made you forget everything else in the room.
Right.
It was amazing. When she yelled and her voice cracked, she meant that. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh,
she meant that. It was amazing.
It was. Oh man.
I mean, even down to like the supporting actors, like M'Baku.
Oh yeah.
He was amazing in the movie, and he was in the movie for probably 10 minutes.
I think that there's credit. I think the MVP of this movie is Ryan Coogler, hands down. Because everything that he set out to do in his vision created a certain undertone of mastery, excellence, and then being able to cast out exactly the vision that you want to achieve. And here's the thing, because M'Baku is the character Man-Ape from Black Panther, but it's like it's like he knew how to walk that fine line of where it's like, okay, we know how, if we have a character, a black man, a giant black man, play the character of Man-Ape, how this is going to come across. But he found a way how to, not only in his portrayal, but also in what the costume design, like even had like the white gorilla fur, but it was on him, but it's like the only time you ever see any real reference.
If they did the costume like they did in the comic book, there was a chance it was going to come off cheesy.
Nope. And there's no way you could make that work. But they found a way how to do all these things, and it's just, I don't sound like I'm, because the movie, to me, I think the movie still does have flaws, and there are a few, but I don't know if we want to get into that or not, but there's so much good.
We can get into it, but I mean, I just want to praise this movie a little bit more.
Oh no,
with
no.
M'Baku, the way that they shot him and the way that he explained everything, it got to the point where when they went to his cave to give him the heart-shaped herb,
Right.
and he said, no king's been to my kingdom in centuries. And the way he said it, you felt for him, but you still kind of didn't like him because you knew he was supposed to be kind of the bad guy almost. But it was like, I understand his angst and his anger, and I want to know why they didn't want him in the village now. I want a story of M'Baku now.
And that's a testament to direction, because you know, all the characters, I think they all had very clear motivations of what they were trying to accomplish. You know, especially Killmonger, like the motivation behind why he is the way that he was, which, and we can touch this point, is that he's the way that he is because he sees the way that Black people, you know, African Americans are treated in America.
Absolutely.
And then what he sees is like, hey, well, I know that this place has the resources, the finances, the financial backing to be able to make anything change on the drop of a hat. I have a rightful place to the throne. If I take over this empire, I could take over the world. Because what he sees is that there's this group of people that you claim are supposed to be of your land, but yet you don't do anything for them. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to take this, and then I'm going to make it the way that it needs to be. You know, like his motivation was clear, and you can understand why he thinks the way that he does. I don't think that he was right, because I see a lot of like threads online, but like Killmonger was right. Like, yeah, he's right in where the circumstance is of where things are, because let's just be honest, you know, there's several hundreds of years of oppression that have been well documented, that, you know, like our family, like we can almost trace back our family tree because we were on, like, because our ancestors were on a shipping manifest. So I mean, so you can trace all that stuff back, but the reality of it is that doesn't necessarily mean that I need to go out and wipe out a certain demographic of people just because of what they did in their past. And I thought that was actually cool that they even touched on that with T'Challa, because the fact that, you know, without, you know, well, I mean, let's just get to what it is. His father killed his brother because he was radicalized and basically almost put his nation at risk. So it's like the sins of the father should not have to necessarily play out into the way things work out in the world, or you can change those things. And it was interesting that, you know, Killmonger was like doing the opposite of what T'Challa was doing. So at the end of the day, so it's just everything all around was just great, you know?
Yeah. It was like his anger was justified, but his means were a little much. You know?
You can, for me, you can almost compare it to how MLK looked at civil rights and almost how Malcolm X looked at civil rights. That's how I just thought about that in my head.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And you know, that's when I started to kind of humanize Killmonger. We started to understand why he was angry, because to be honest with you, when the movie started, like they showed the whole basketball court thing and, you know, drugs and guns being dealt out, and then they show these guys go to Wakanda, and I'm like, this is before I knew what was going on. I'm like, these guys have been living in this bubble, protected this whole time, and they have the means to help the people that are in trouble, that are on this continent or in their own land, but they choose to remain hidden, thinking that they're protecting something greater,
right?
You know, so and to be honest with you, that's probably how African Americans are kind of treating Africans.
Well,
they're on the same planet.
the point is like a lot of the basis behind the whole African diaspora thing, and it's like and even they even touch on that in the movie itself, because once Killmonger beats T'Challa, it's like, but he's an outsider. He has no right to come back and take this throne. But it's like, but he did things based on the traditions that you set.
Yeah.
So it's like,
he did exactly what he was supposed to
do. And I mean, just because you know, however you want to make this parallel, just because you don't like the outcome, the rules are the rules, and someone beat you at your own game, and unfortunately it didn't work in your favor. So now you're gonna have to just, you do what you can within your means to make those things change, which is ultimately what happened at the end.
I saw somebody ask the question online and say, why didn't Killmonger take care of Scar? Was that his name, Scar? Claw. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I was about to say, this ain't Lion King, bro.
He said, why didn't he take care of Claw at the beginning of the movie? But I'm like, that was a calculated thing he was doing. He knew in order to gain favor and to get where he needed to be, he had to come to Wakanda with something,
right?
That they wanted. They wanted Claw dead. So he had to wait until the perfect time. He knew somehow he knew Black Panther was going to fail, or he found out that he failed miserably.
Right.
So he broke him out, had him where he wanted him, killed him, and brought him back. That was calculated. That was intelligent. That was what you need to do in order to gain power over people who are looking for a stronger leader. And at that point, like one of the elders said, we need a leader, not a warrior.
Right.
So they were already at ends with T'Challa. So Killmonger he waited. He knew what he was doing. It was calculated. It was genius. The guy said that Killmonger was out doing what he had to do with the secret service or whatever.
Right.
Taking over
the operative,
That he's already overthrown nations already. So he knew what he was doing. It was smart. It was brilliant. The only thing that did him in was that he got emotional.
Yeah.
And that's what does most people in.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So I don't wholeheartedly look at him as a villain.
I still do. I can't. Now, what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah, he sounds like me right now.
No, what he was doing was wrong. You can't just kill everybody. That ain't you. That was incorrect. It could have been a different way. If he had just tilted a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and not wanted to just commit genocide, then he'd have just been a great hero. If he just wanted to uplift his people and give them the means to fight back when it was needed.
All right,
but I can't look at him as a hero, as a villain.
Okay, well, so if we want to let's take a villain in terms of context. A villain is a person who wants to inflict harm or subjugate a group of people for the purpose of a story. So if by that definition, Killmonger does define as one, not saying that necessarily his motivation necessarily means that it's not justified, because it is. But I would not. He would still be considered a villain, because at the end of the day, what does he want? His end goal is to become a totalitarian, figure of the world, based on being able to say, hey, we're gonna provide technology and resources to these other groups, overthrow all these governments, and then at the end, we'll be on top. I'll be the person to go ahead and give you at the top. So it's not saying that, by no means, I'm not saying that where his anger came from was incorrect. It's just kind of like
misdirected.
I can't even say misdirected. It's because you can be mad about something. It's like the thing you have to remember is that it's kind of there's this book I'm reading called, audiobook. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And the book actually even goes into saying, like, you can be angry about something, but it's not the anger that gets you in trouble. It is the action. So, like, I can get mad at, stubbing my toe on the couch. What gets you in trouble is when you decide you want to flip the couch over and throw it across the room. And then you're going to have to, you just have this path of damage that's just mad because you flipped over this thing. It's not necessarily saying that what he was doing is not, in some sense, an understanding. Because being Black in America, you completely understand where he's coming from. It's just that to say that he's like, well, he's a good guy. I wouldn't even call him an anti-hero, because the methods.
Look what happened to him, though. Look how he got to that place. His own people killed his father,
Yep.
and left him with nobody.
Okay. So let's
the situation turned him into that.
Okay. So let's take that same concept and throw it to another MCU villain, Loki. What was Loki? Loki was basically stolen by Odin because he killed the frost giants. And what happened is the whole time Loki was being lied to about his own lineage and his own thing, and was basically told by his father, said, "You're never going to be in this role because you were technically not my son." Based on that, so to bring it to that same thing, based on that, his motivate, how can you not connect it?
Because his killer. No, look, listen. Eric's killer did not take care of him afterwards. Eric's killer left him. Loki's parents' killer took him in and raised him and made sure he survived. Nobody did that for Eric. To be honest with you, Eric should have been way more angry than Loki. I'm glad he didn't have Loki's powers.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily make it where, even though those things actually happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that where the way of which you actually resolve a situation is not tied to directly how you are motivated by your circumstances. Because there are a ton of people, there are a ton of examples where you could say that someone has been pushed to do something great or something terrible based on the response of a person. It's about personal accountability at that point. Because think about, all right, Batman, for example. Batman was okay, exactly. Not Martha. We're not gonna go there. That was but Batman's motivation was, for example, it was his parents were killed by depending on which lineage or which comic book story it comes from, but his parents were killed. If he became a ruthless vigilante and killed every single person that just happened to commit crime, would you look at him the same way? If he was committing genocide on a group of people, like if you say, "I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill your dog, I'm gonna kill your kids," like if he went out after the entire family, would that be justified?
But he said, "and their kids,"
right? Because they have nothing to. They have nothing to do with that. They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with that.
We say things sometimes when we're angry.
See, but you giving him a pass.
No, I'm not giving him a pass. All I'm saying was his circumstance. His circumstance made it make sense to why he was angry.
Okay.
There could have been many things that happened at that point to where he'd have just been a great guy. Loki, like I said, with Loki, if those guys took Eric in after they killed his father and raised him and made him make sure he was healthy, learned and all that good stuff, he would have had an at least. He's like, "Kill my daddy, at least you kept me." Yeah. He didn't have that.
But also remember, Loki didn't know that information either. He didn't know that he was a frost giant. Remember, he didn't know that. That was something that he found out. He was
Eric didn't know why they killed his father.
Okay, so we're putting them at a parallel now.
They're not at a parallel. All I'm saying is that I can't look at him as a villain. He was a victim. A victim who found a way. A victim who found a way to find retribution for what was done to him.
Okay.
I can't.
And in finding a way to get back at the people who had done him wrong, he kind of went overboard.
Yeah, but that also. So the fact that he is willing to do a terrible act to a group of people, that makes him a villain.
I never said that it was okay to commit genocide. Genocide is a bad thing.
The reason why I'm saying this is because, and this is the reason the fact that we're discussing about him this way is what makes him probably the most compelling Marvel villain. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, and that was what they were going. He was the true antagonist to the story, and he is also, because you felt his motivations as to why. A villain and a hero. The thing is, everybody at the end of the day, everybody in a story is looked at as a hero within the confines of their own purview. Mm-hmm. So, in his opinion, he's the hero. He's like, I am going to save the day. But in the sense of making things better, building bridges, not walls, and all this other stuff, in that same sense, that is not the right way to do things. And T'Challa was even telling him, like, look, man, yeah, but nah, bro, we can't have that. And that's
the messed up part is nobody offered him an olive branch. Nobody tried to figure out what he wanted, if he was able to be turned around. Even when he said, why, so you can lock me up, T'Challa didn't even say, nah, I'm not going to lock you up. I'm going to help you, brother. He was like,
all right.
I thought about that too. I was waiting on his response.
So here, then that was the one thing about the whole thing is that you're right. No one gave him the olive branch, but at the same time, he also didn't give anyone the opportunity to do that because he also came in. He was coming in there to wreck shop. Because remember, he said that his mission in life was to get to this point to kill him, not to understand, not to reason, not to say, hey, you know what, we're two sides of the same coin thing. Let's work this out. Nah, I'm gonna come up in your shot. I'm gonna kill your family. I'm making sure you understand. Like, even when the point when Forrest Whitaker's character is like, please just kill me. It's okay. And he was like, all right, I'll kill you too. But
yeah, that's, you know what? I'll take your side on that. Up until that point, I thought it was hope. I was like, maybe he'll have some emotion over something. Maybe somebody can do something. But when he saw Forrest and figured out who he was, Yaga.
Night.
Yaga. That was it. That was it. So at that point, I was like, oh, this dude's kind of crazy up in here. They did a pretty good job on this. I hate he died.
That was because I think, but hey, man, you know what's funny about this whole thing is that Infinity War is coming up, and we have 5 stones, one of which actually manipulates time and reality. So Marvel can basically retcon the entire MCU if they want to, just because of reasons.
I don't think they do that.
I don't think they would, but hey, the possibility is there. So I know we're gushing about this, but did y'all see anything that was negative? And I have like two little points, and they're not negatives. It's just more like critiques.
Partially, but I think it's me nitpicking though.
No, go ahead.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
I felt like they wanted a white savior for a second, so they threw my man in there a little bit.
That's the one.
Really? And it wasn't like they threw him in there like he was like the whole white savior, but it was just kind of like, I don't know the comic book as much, so he could very well play part in it. But I'm like, they threw this in to just not be a little too black. That's how I felt.
They had to give him something to do, and I think that's honestly what it felt like. It felt like, well, we have this sequence. Well, we can't have you join the final battle because you don't know anything.
Exactly.
And we know, and it's like they had to explain, like in 6 lines of dialogue, hey, you were a pilot. Yes, because you're a pilot, there are ships taking off. Blow these up. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was
it fit too well. It's like y'all just wanted a white savior. Yeah,
I wouldn't say white savior per se. I would say
he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't really the savior because
Here's how I'm gonna flip it the way that I would say we would see in other movies. All right, so I don't know. Well, Brian, you saw Star Wars: The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I honestly didn't hate the movie. It's flawed, but I'm about to get to the flaw that I think that movie has. There is an entire subplot where they go to where Finn, who's the Black Stormtrooper, and Rose, who's the Vietnamese American, they go over to this one planet, and it's a bunch of casino stuff, and they start preaching about, animal cruelty is bad and weapon profiteering sucks. But the reality of it is that that entire sequence takes away from the actual story that is trying to be told. I'm not saying that this movie is that egregious of a stance on it, but it felt like, well, we're gonna have, you know, you're the token, you know, group that we have to address, and we really don't have anything for you to do that is essential to the plot. So we have to have this cool little sequence that actually allows us to show technical show technical prowess. So yeah, so that's one. Brian, what you thought?
All right.
What the fuck was that?
The completely he was so fucking unnecessary to this movie. He's
Very unnecessary.
Shot in the chest. That should have been it. I don't know why they kept him. Why he even played anything further than 5 minutes in the movie. He was so unnecessary. He was just a goofy comedy relief. We were fine. Didn't need him. Did not need him.
So I don't want to drag that because that's one. The other thing is, I'll just be honest. I think that the CG in the third act, like between Black Panther and when Killmonger was in the Golden Jaguar suit, it reminded me of when they were fighting in Blade 2. It's like we're just like rubbery and weird looking. Yeah, like that
it got a little too like cheesy CGI. That did bother me.
Yeah,
it's just like the next movie. I feel like they may give them a little bit more money to make it look better. Be my guess.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
that's how I felt. Huh?
That was Marvel money. How much more money can you throw at a movie?
I think this is the first Black Panther movie, though. You can't just throw everything out there. You got to make sure it's a success first.
Yeah. Now I'm not gonna lie. I do wish that. Now I know they showed the whole scene with his father passing and everything, but I do kind of wish that they found some way to tie it to the Marvel cinema universe, the Marvel universe. They didn't. It was kind of like his own individual thing floating out here, and we don't even know if he's going to be a part of Civil War or not because they didn't tie it in anyway.
We know he's going to be in Civil War because the entire final battle sequence they show in like all the trailers.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. But
I agree.
With all the other movies, with all the other movies, they tied it in, or they had that little extra scene at the end to have them showing something with the Infinity Stones, or something with Cap or somewhere, but they didn't. Right. So it was an amazing movie, and I love the way they did everything. But they could have gave it a tiny thread to the rest of
They showed the White Wolf, man. What are you talking about? They showed the White Wolf. Talk about Bucky at the end.
They showed Bucky?
You didn't stay to the end of the movie? You didn't stay to the very end?
I didn't even stay to the very end.
I
knew you would tell me.
Listen, I stayed when they were in the whole Congress thing, and the guy said, "What can a bunch of farmers do for us?"
Right.
Something else happened after that?
Yeah, they like at the very end of the credits.
No, the very end after all the credits he's talking about. I don't know why all the credits.
I knew I
know that. You know
see,
that.
Now you got to recant. You got to recant that.
What happened?
It don't matter. I'm gonna go see it again.
It wasn't anything big. It's just that they showed that like Bucky was he was surrounded by some children, and then they call him the White Wolf. And then
they did say another white
broken white boy
to take care of.
Yeah. They had that, and then basically he gets up and then he's walking around the place, and she mentioned like they got a couple things to work on, but that he's gonna get his other arm and everything's good. So it's nothing to dwell on, but they do tie in what happened at the end of Civil War back to this movie in that one little sequence. So it's fine.
All right, so we're going to continue on, and I know Izzo has some place to be, so me and Rich are going to continue on with this for a little while longer. See if we can come to an agreement on Killmonger being a good guy.
Hey, just what I say, I'm on the fence, so I'm in the middle of both of y'all. So.
I can't call him a villain. I can't.
All right, so I mean, but all right,
but
so
I'll catch y'all next time.
All right, man. All right, so the last thing, the last two things I know that we were talking about was because, like I said, I mean, it's not very much bad to go around about this movie, but the things that, because I think we touched about on the things that made you think. But I'm interested to see the things that actually hit you, like punched you in the gut. Because there were moments in the movie, there are 2 moments in particular in the movie where I was sitting there and I was like, oh, because I was about to cry.
Yeah. About to, bruh. I was hoping nobody looked at me when they first got to Wakanda. That first scene when he went through the whole hidden thing, and they showed everybody walking around and chilling, and I had thug tears. I shed a couple. Like, this is fucking beautiful.
Oh man,
that part got me.
That was my wife's moment. Because I actually wrote the quote down. Is when he went into the ancestral plane, when I guess I forgot what they call it, like the soul plane or whatever it is called in the comics. And when his father told him, said, a man that has not prepared his children for his own death has failed as a father. I was like, oh, that was bro. Like that moment was like, because it makes you think about all the other things that have happened in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was a deep moment. It's just it was, and then like even the part when he was talking to when Killmonger was talking to his father, and I liked how they even switched between him being an adult versus being like a child. Like the way they even did that, it was like, you know, showing like what he was being prepared for and where he was at in the frame of mind, and that sort of, it was.
The hurt part in that was like his father didn't even know what to tell him.
Right.
And beyond death, if your father can't even guide you.
Bruh. I was like, oh, this dude is.
I was like, you ain't got nothing to tell this boy?
he had nothing to say for him. And it's like, and it was him being put into that spot, into that role. It was like, well, shoot, like he had no place to go, so he's just like, so all he's got is just blind, I don't say rage, but he's just angry and like, I need to do something to fix this issue because, you know, I got people out here on my side of the planet that are suffering.
Like I said, I understood that. I identified what everything was saying. You got these people who are technologically advanced, have been so for thousands of years. They don't worry about sickness or death, or death from odd ways, because they can heal themselves. You're just letting the rest of the world die. You know,
and you're okay with it.
Exactly, because you just want to protect what's yours. So kind of like, really, is Killmonger the enemy, or is he the villain, or are the Wakandians the villains because they're letting people die? They're letting it happen. They let slavery happen,
right? And that was the interesting part, because when T'Challa talked to his father the second time after coming back, you know, when he talked to his father and he was saying how, you know, all of these things happened because of what you did, you know, like you kind of created the monster that, you know, that is going to tear our way of life apart. And his father was kind of like, I mean, we were trying to keep things safe. He's like, well, it's not, you know, you really aren't helping anybody by just, if you have the means to stop something, you're not helping anybody by just simply allowing it to happen. So it got back to the other point of like, you know, should you pay for the sins of your father? And I don't think you should. So it does yield a way of looking at, like you said. I mean, I'm not knocking at things at all, because like, you know, apparently like Wakanda did some pretty bad stuff, you know, or they just turned a blind, they just simply turned a blind eye.
That's the whole sins of the father. Even T'Challa's father leaving that little boy after he killed his father, that's a sin. Somewhere. That's a sin.
He murdered his.
Who's supposed to pay for that?
He murdered his own brother in cold blood. And that was,
so who's paying for that?
That scene was that was a cool fact about that scene. I don't know if I posted this in our chat or not, but like the guy who played the younger version of his father is actually the son of the guy who's playing his father in present day, which is why they kind of look alike.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was actually like, I was like, oh, okay, all right. So it's not like any magic de-aging software. It's just it's like it's his father's the guy's playing him.
You know what Marvel's showing me right now? You can't trust your damn daddy.
hey, you know what? That is a fortunately or unfortunately, that's a Disney trope. Like, because if you look at Disney, it's your mother. I think Disney it's the mother.
It's Disney with the mother, but
Marvel's
you can't trust your damn daddy.
Disney is the mother, so Marvel's coming at it for the fathers. It's crazy.
Yeah. So so of course T'Challa can't trust his daddy.
Loki can't trust his
Thor
daddy.
can't trust his daddy. Yeah. Thor can't trust him either because he hit that whole thing from on the ceiling.
Right.
And you had a whole sister.
Oh man,
a whole sister.
He just hid all that stuff away. Like, nah, this ain't cool. Tony Stark
can't trust his daddy. Oh my god. His daddy did all type of messed up stuff.
Oh man, it's Marvel. It's just like they're gonna make. Who else?
Yeah. Well, Tony can't trust nobody because even dude that was on his team killed his daddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, who else? I can't think of anybody else at the moment. But yeah, like the
they
big,
didn't show anybody
like
else's
the big
father. Yeah.
The big core tent poles of characters. It's like, yeah, you can't trust your daddy. You can't trust your daddy.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, if you're going to trace back Incredible Hulk, let's go back to one of the horrible movies.
Well, now see that's not in the same. That's not in the same universe. We're gonna ignore that one.
Blade couldn't trust his mama.
Oh well, yeah. And then that falls back to Disney side. Then
they're going to redo Blade, man.
I don't think they will. Let me.
They got.
Do I think they might? They might. It might be a like a Hulu thing. I think it'll be a Hulu thing because I don't think Disney wants to put like blood and guts all over in the mainstream heavy focused space. I don't think Disney wants to do that. The other moment that hit me was Killmonger's last line. He was bury me.
That's about what I was talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah, bury me in the oceans with my ancestors because they knew death was better than bondage.
Oh,
I cried. I cried.
Oh,
I cried. I legitimately cried.
They should have just recorded fan reaction to certain lines because when he said it, all you heard was. It was like 40 people. Oh. That's why I can't call him a villain because he felt for the people who died for no reason.
It doesn't. It's not me saying. It's again, and that's what I want. It's not. I'm saying that he is wrong for the way he feels. It's just that he is a villain based on his actions of what he's trying to do.
I want to. I can't. He's not a villain. He's a hurt man who was hurt by people and who knows his history was hurt.
Okay, but does that mean does that mean two wrongs make a right?
No, but it does not make you a villain.
Okay, if you wait, he's not a villain because technically the webs didn't get to all the places that they needed to. I mean,
it didn't happen. Didn't happen, you know.
I mean,
so I can't.
I'm still. I mean,
let's Killmonger. There you go. Let's bring Killmonger up here. Those fell. Not a villain. Not a villain.
Oh man, he's going. I'll tell you, man. I'm seriously contemplating if I want to start collecting Hot Toys figures, like Black Panther. No, not Funko Pop. The ones that are like the highly detailed, sculpted 1/6 scale characters.
Expensive. Yeah, those are expensive. Those are like $275 out right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm be honest, man. It's like. If they do that, like they're doing, of course they're doing Black Panther, but they have to do Killmonger and they have to do Okoye. Like they just have to do those three. Okoye, if like they want to do another one, just do one more. Her, because I mean, she was just fantastic.
She was so amazing in that movie. Oh my gosh, I'm in love with that chick, and I think that is the first. And you know what's weird?
She's got a
Okoye was Lupita, right?
Yeah, right.
No, Okoye was
no. Okoye was the General of the Door, Malaje. Lupita is her character was Nikita.
You know, that's the first movie I've ever watched fully with her in it.
Really?
Like, I've been totally enthralled with this lady and never seen any of her movies. This is the first one that I've seen with her in it. Yes.
Wow. If you want, and I know we don't want to like get into like watching slave movies and stuff, but if you want to watch a movie, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. If you want to watch one movie with her in it that is like that, she got an Academy Award for this part. Was in 12 Years a Slave. She does this one monologue. I swear, it's like you feel pain and suffering in the movie. She's only in the movie for 12 minutes, I think. I think she's only got 12 minutes of screen time in the entire movie and earned every bit of the Academy Award she got.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's a passionate actor. She let that out in Black Panther, and that's a fucking superhero movie.
I mean,
you know, nobody's supposed to put that much effort and acting in a superhero movie. And she wants an award. If anybody ever gets any serious medal, award, honors, anything in a superhero movie, that scene between her and Denai, that one.
That
scene.
I can see that.
That scene, because I felt everything in that movie.
I don't know, man. Like the only other time where I could honestly say that I felt a character's emotions just straight up from their face is when Tony Stark found out that the Winter Soldier killed his parents.
Oh yeah,
and like you see like anger and frustration, and like
be honest with you, that was probably 6 scenes they had to splice together. But it was so effortless with Denai and Lupita. Oh my God, that movie was amazing. I don't know the part
where.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
But they have to do a part 2 just because. And they better be in it.
It's like my wife and I, we were talking about that. Like, how are they going to do a second part to this movie? Like, what would you? Because let's face it, Claw is gone, Killmonger's gone, Man-Ape is around, but
that surprised me.
You know what?
That they
killed off Claw.
Yeah,
I was shocked they killed Claw. I was thinking Killmonger, it wasn't a surprise, but I can see why it's necessary. Claw, I kind of was like, he's kind of like, that's like his dude.
Yeah, it's one of those characters in the Marvel universe that just ran from movie to movie.
Right.
They're kind of like running in the background, like, ha ha, look at me, and they keep running.
Right.
Like, he's dead. He's dead. Like, he can't even come back and be like, I was playing. That motherfucker's dead. I don't know why they killed him off like that. It's like they kept them for you. You keep somebody on contract for 5 or 6 years just to kill you in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that was actually a surprise. Like I didn't see that one coming. But you know what? Let's be honest though, they really didn't. They show it, but don't show it. So I mean, I don't know.
That motherfucker's dead.
I mean, yeah. If he comes back, well, I mean, let's just be honest. Claw in what do you call it? Claw in the comic books is supposedly the physical manifestation of sound. So whatever. I mean, we about to have Infinity Stones come up through here, so anything at this point is possible.
Rich.
Rich. I'm just saying, man.
Rich. Claw's dead.
I mean, he is. I mean,
he drugged this man. He drugged this man in a parachute through Africa. This man's dead.
He's dead. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's just I was like, well, I guess he is. Yeah. Okay. I mean,
yeah, he's dead. And I'm pretty sure Oh boy, I can't remember his name. I don't remember his character's name.
Who?
Get Out guy.
Oh, we're talking about I know you're talking about, but yeah.
He probably did something fucked up to that body. Claw's dead.
Yeah, Claw's he's gone. All right,
Yeah.
so where would you, if in all honesty, where would you rank this movie in terms of the MCU? Because yeah, I'm interested to see where you would rank it.
All right, let's do this first, real quick. Let me
gotta see what came.
I need all the Marvel movies. This is why I like doing this, because I can look on my second screen and Google stuff. All right, so all Marvel movies in order. All right, we're not looking at these. We're gonna skip all the way up. Why they got Spider-Man up here? Spider-Man 3.
Oh, because technically it's in the MCU. I mean, Spider-Man Homecoming is.
Okay, Iron Man was the first movie. All right, so I got to give Iron Man 1 that number 1 props, just because it laid the foundation.
Okay, all right. So all right, so go ahead from there, and then
all right. Let me see.
Because I'm not necessarily saying it doesn't have to be in order, but like, what would your top 5 be?
Okay,
like,
okay. No order. Black Panther, Iron Man 1. Let's see what we got here. I can't put Thor in there. Thor, it would be like number 6.
Okay.
Dark World, 101, Captain America.
Dark World ain't going up there at all.
It's
nowhere close.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Okay.
That's 4 of my spots. Well, let's do 3 spots. I'll put Guardians of the Galaxy 1 up there.
Okay.
Deadpool.
Well, Deadpool's not in the MCU now.
Why is he up here?
Because
sure he's not MCU?
He's technically. I'm positive. He's still on the Fox. He's under the Fox brand.
Okay.
He's on the Fox brand right now until once everything gets cemented back together. But yeah, he's part of Fox.
Civil War.
Okay. That's 4.
Is that 4? I got space for 1 more.
Yeah, you got space for 1 more. Because you said you had Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
I love Ragnarok. I did love Ragnarok. I can watch Ragnarok again and again and again.
All right. So see, I think that's the thing that I found, because there are a lot of people who are online who are saying like Black Panther is the greatest movie of all time and this, that, and the other, and they're saying that it's great. It is. I'll be honest. It is probably the best directed Marvel movie that's been done so far. But there are like those little things that I'm like, okay, you had to throw a character in because reasons, and then you also had like the CGI was shot in third act. That's nitpicking though. If I had to say top 5, it would be, and this is again no order, I would agree with you, Iron Man and Black Panther for sure. Iron Man and Black Panther. I would say Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I like 2 better over 1. Both are good.
Really?
I just like 2. Yeah, I like 2 better. And I think the reason why I like 2 is 2 I think had a little more of an emotional, like message in it than the first one. Not saying the first one's bad, just like the second one better. I used to say Winter Soldier was the better movie, but I think Civil War is to me like going back and watching it again. Like I watched Civil War and Winter Soldier recently, and I'd have to say Civil War, and it's because I think it's similar to Black Panther. It's a battle of ideology, not a battle of like we have to punch each other to death. All right, so we have Iron Man, Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Civil War. Honestly, man, I don't know, for whatever reason, I kind of like the first Thor movie. Like I put that one in my top 5.
For me, it's real hard to put the foundation movies in my top 5, just because I have to go all around here to get to here.
I would say this. I think because Captain America is probably my least favorite Marvel movie. Like the first Captain America movie is like, I didn't care for the first.
I thought they did really well.
It's not bad.
How he got to a point.
Yeah, it's like it's fine. It's just not. It's fine. It's not like it's bad. I think Thor: The Dark World is probably the least. I don't know, man. I gotta think about that because it's like part of me wants to say that about Iron Man 2, not 2, 3. Because Iron Man 3 is not a bad movie. It's just not a good Iron Man movie.
That was the one with all the different Iron Man outfits, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. It's just not a good Iron Man movie. Iron Man 2 is an Avengers setup movie. Yeah, man. Ant-Man's solid. Doctor Strange kind of runs in there, but Doctor Strange is really just Iron Man 1 with magic.
Doctor Strange is good. I don't see myself. I still can't group him with the Avengers yet.
Well, not yet. I mean, he's coming.
I know he got a choice, but I don't see him as part of it yet.
Give him about 3 months, he'll be good.
When he did the whole Thor thing in Ragnarok, that was dope.
Right.
You know, and they made them kind of mesh together a little bit better at that point. But those are my top 5.
I mean, I think the only difference is like you think of only 2 movies that are different because I think in Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie is basically it's well directed, but the thing is that nobody thought it was going to actually work. I think there's a surprise element in that one fact alone, but it's also, you know, it's like Marvel had an idea, and the thing we have to credit the MCU for is that no other franchise has pulled this off yet, not even Star Wars, because Star Wars is floundering. Like I like The Last Jedi, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like it's very clear that Disney bought this franchise and has no idea what they're gonna do with it. Like they bought it and were like, okay, so like episode 7 was basically a fan film. Episode 8 was like, well, everything you thought in that last movie was a lie, so we're gonna do this. I still enjoyed it, but I can see where people are upset about it. Rogue One is nothing but another fan film for what you thought happened during the Death Star stuff. Han Solo movie is a movie nobody asked for. I would have been much more interested. I'd have been much more interested if it was a Lando movie than a Han Solo movie. Like I think it would have been better. Like if they would have done, yeah. Like because you know, we had a young Han Solo in A New Hope. There's not a need for. There's not a need for it. Yeah, you know.
Was it the same guy?
Nah.
Well, A New Hope was back in the what? 80s?
Yeah, in 77. Yeah.
Okay,
New Hope was 77. So yeah. I mean, yeah, it was Harrison Ford all the way up through, but this movie, of course, not. It can't be. But yeah, like I don't know. It's like Marvel is they're the only franchise that has taken. I think what a lot of these other franchises forget is that they took the time to get to where they are. It's just like anyone who wants to be a bodybuilder. It's not like you start from day one lifting 500 pounds. Like you just don't, unless you know. And there are some people who may be physically more capable of starting out and then progressing faster. But the reality of it is that for most of us, you hit a certain point, and then it's like there's a substantial amount of work that has to go into it. Marvel honestly laid the foundation and they perfected their craft over time. And whenever they had a misstep, also known as Iron Man 2, Thor the Dark World. I mean, so Avengers 2. I mean, it's not like none of the movies were ever bad.
Remember there was a Captain America in 1990.
Well, yeah, but I'm not counting that into this. I'm talking about like even within the confines of the MCU, it's like they've made missteps and they've said, okay, well we don't need to do this. Like, just think about it. Going from Thor to Thor: The Dark World to Thor Ragnarok, they're 3 totally different. I'm gonna say totally different, but they're 3 different movies, each having their own vision. But Marvel had a vision of what they wanted to do with the first movie. The second movie was kind of like, just like Iron Man 2, it's kind of like it's there because reasons. And then Thor Ragnarok had its own place in what it was trying to tell as a story for Thor. So it's kind of like
they knew what they did wrong with those Thor movies.
Yeah.
Thor 1, Thor 2, and then Ragnarok. And it's like, we're not even going to reference what the hell we did the last 6 years with Thor.
We're sorry, guys. Here you go.
Yeah,
and that's what I appreciate about Black Panthers, because it's very clear that Marvel knew exactly what they were setting out to do with this thing, and it's not like, even because, let's be honest, it's an origin story, but not an origin story, because the first time you see this character is in another movie.
Yeah.
And then this movie is actually just picking up where the circumstances left off.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an origin of how this person, becomes a king, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an origin of that lineage, but not an origin to that character. But you get his placement in the world in the MCU, and it's like, so I don't know, man.
All in all, they did an
great.
amazing job with this movie. And this director has done what, 4 movies? 5 movies?
Like three large productions. Yeah.
Fruitville Station, 42, Black Panther.
Was he 42? Did he do this 42? Did he do 42?
Yeah, he did 42, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know. Shit.
I think so. Okay. Hold on, let me make sure. I don't want to be wrong. Somebody gonna hit me up on this podcast. You was wrong.
I mean, we know Chadwick Boseman was in 42.
Because I think he always kept Chadwick Boseman with him.
He kept Michael B. Jordan with him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, let me see. So I'm on IMDb.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography right now. Yeah, it's Creed, Fruitvale Station, and Black Panther. There's another movie named Fig, but that's really about
he didn't do 42? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. I thought he did that. Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
Nah,
and he's only done 3, and all 3 are actually well done movies. So he's he's a prodigy, because he's only 32 years old. So I mean,
makes me feel lazy.
Well, I mean, I would strongly recommend, if you get a chance to read that book, it also talks about that too. Like how like social media makes us feel that greatness is a thing that everybody is doing, but we forget about all the hours that it took for that person to get from that point to another.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But anyway, I think that's all I got, man. I ain't got nothing else.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing else. The movie was amazing. If you ain't seen this movie, I'm sorry you watched this podcast because we just fucked it up. But we got, let's see, hold on. Let me go back to this page I was on. I want you to give me your opinions or your hypotheses or your predictions for these next 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's 4 movies labeled. Avengers Infinity War. What you think?
All right. I mentioned this to somebody. It's not like I think the movie is going to be good, but my concern with that movie is what is Thanos' motivation for basically shaping the universe in this image?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is he doing it?
You want because a God story.
I mean, sure, but like, so for example, you know how we were talking about like Loki and Killmonger are 2 of the best MCU villains because there's a motivation as to why they're doing the things that they're doing. Like there's a reason for it. All right. Every other villain in the MCU pretty much is bad because of reasons. Like it's like, well, I'm the bad guy, so profits, and that's really the only reason why they're doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm concerned with this movie in particular. It's not the fact, because even down to because we forget about Robert Redford's character in The Winter Soldier, is that technically he's a villain. He had this reason of why he wanted Hydra to take over, and it's like it wasn't really well thought out, but there's a reason as to why it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my concern with Infinity Wars, that he'll be another bad guy
for no reason.
Yeah,
I just want everything. Yeah. No reason.
That's the only thing that I'm concerned. Do I think it's going to be great? Yeah, I mean, as a spectacle movie, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
I would like to see what was the chick's sister's name on Guardians of the Galaxy.
You had because you're talking about Gamora's sister.
Yeah.
I know you talk about Thanos' daughter.
Yeah. Because when she was explaining that thing, man, she has to get that death blow if they beat Thanos.
But that's not gonna happen in this movie. You know that.
She had to. I mean, she said every
Nebula. That's who it is.
Every time I lost, it took another part of me. My eyes, my brain, all that, man. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, daddies ain't shit in the Marvel universe.
I forgot about that one too. Jeez, man.
So we got Deadpool 2.
Oh.
You expecting anything out of this?
I do expect. Do I expect anything out of it? I can't say I do or don't. I think it'll be good. I don't want to say it. It's like catching lightning in a bottle, especially when it comes.
Yeah, that's
to
what
comedies.
I was gonna say. Yeah,
when it comes to comedies, it's. I can't really think of any good comedy sequels. And I mean, and Cable's being presented in it, it's just kind of like, okay, I don't know, what's the method to this madness,
Yeah,
like Deadpool's story before was something about what happened to him.
Part one was so amazing because we were all waiting for a Deadpool movie,
right?
That we really never knew was going to happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
So we ran to it and watched it, and it was funny. So
yeah, you can't do the same jokes twice and expect the same result.
No. Ant-Man and Wasp.
I'm not. There's nothing that I see in it that I'm like uber excited for. I'm still gonna probably watch it, but it's not like. It's more like I'm watching it because I know it's a Marvel movie and it's not going to be terrible.
Yeah,
I'm not watching it because it's like, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing.
Yeah, that whole thing is not a real drawer. All right, last one, Captain Marvel.
I know nothing of Captain Marvel, so I'm intrigued in that thing. There are only two things I do know about the movie. Is that one, it is going to it's going to be set in the 90s, and then the other is that they're going to introduce the Skrulls into this movie. So, and the Skrulls are like it's basically what the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie. It's like they were kind of halfway designed on the Skrull design, but basically what the big deal with the Skrulls is that they are able to take the shape of anybody. So the understanding is that in either an Infinity War, they're gonna show that somebody was a Skrull or hint at. So it could be a certain character that we've been watching this whole time may have actually been a Skrull experiencing the whole story. I saw a pretty compelling argument about why War Machine would be the best Skrull. It was a pretty well thought out piece because it was like he's always there on Iron Man's side. He's part of the government. He's got X, Y, and Z. So it's like it would make sense to have him be a Skrull. And let's be honest, War Machine really hasn't done anything. Like Civil War was I was actually happy when he was in Civil War, and then they gave him robot legs at the end, and I'm like, man, come on, man, really? Like y'all
they give him robot legs?
Well, he had that little prosthetic, not prosthetic, but it was like, they had him in a little walker, and I was like, man, come on, man, y'all, okay, I guess.
Marvel.
Yeah, so I mean, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they pull this off if they do go that route. I'm interested, but I'm not like uber excited like for however they're gonna make this play out.
Yeah, I think they brought out everybody we were going to be super excited about. So the rest is kind of just.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing about it, though, man, is that if someone would have told me that Guardians of the Galaxy would have been as good as what it was, I would have probably been like, "Ha, you're joking," and I wound up, like. Because when I heard Guardians was coming out, I was like, I know nothing about these characters, but okay. I mean, I'm interested in seeing it because it's Marvel, and Marvel basically can print money at this point.
Mm-hmm. We talked shit about it when I saw the preview. It was like, is that a talking squirrel? Is that a raccoon? Ain't nobody gonna see that shit, right? We talked shit about it when we saw the previews. Ain't nobody gonna see that. Yeah, but then we saw it. It was like, this is probably one of the greatest movies we've ever seen.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna work out, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That one is, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is probably my least anticipated out of all of them. Not saying like I'm like, I don't want to ever see this movie. It's just like, I mean, if I see it, it's great. If not, then oh well, too. It's fine.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but all right, we're gonna wrap up this. I I'm probably going to edit the hell out of this. I think this is a 2 hour long podcast,
roughly.
What we did not mean to do.
What's a lot of subject matter to cover?
Yeah. So next Sunday, what we're going to do, we're going to try to stay within some specific categories, current events, politics, sports, entertainment, things like that. Keep it a little bit shorter for you. And it's going to do it. Rich, you got anything else to say before we leave out of here?
Nah, man, I'm good.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for keeping us company, and we appreciate you for letting us be your company. I'll let y'all next time. Peace.